Hey, fellow computer dreamers. Welcome to our episode 11 in our Dreaming to Compete series, The Path to Pro Soccer as a US Immigrant. How being resourceful can help us overcome adversity. In this amazing conversation with ex-professional soccer player and coach at Beach FC, LA Galaxy, and Cerritos College, Jose Esparza, we can dive deep into how we can make our dreams come true by always looking for different ways and paths to get better. Listen to the full conversation to learn from the path to success from Sparsa to see how you can make your dreams come true, and let us know what resonated with you.
Welcome, Coach Esparza. It's been a while since we've seen each other, and I'm so glad to have you here in the podcast, the Dreaming to Compete podcast, where we own our dreams by competing and compete by owning our dreams. What I mean with that is that we take ownership of our dreams, like we're the only responsibles for the results of our dreams, nobody else. And the way that we can make our dreams come true is by competing to be our best, competing with others and ourselves, our version of yesterday, to being 1% better. So, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here.
Hey JP, yeah, it's been a while, man. I'm so glad to get in touch with you again. Obviously it's been a roller coaster from you, a roller coaster for me. It's so glad to get an invite from you. It's always a pleasure to see you, to have a conversation with you, especially being one of your soccer coaches. It's always a pleasure, man. Thank you. Thanks for having us here.
Yes, and you've been a blessing. Like, you appeared in my life when I came to Colombia and I arrived to California. And just the first couple months where I didn't know how I could continue my soccer career because I didn't know the soccer system in the United States. And you helped me out a lot. You got me on your team, Beach Football Club, and you really helped me to become a better player and a better person. Like, if it wasn't for you, I would have been here because you helped me in the whole process. Like, you were not just my coach, like, you were a friend, and like, you picked me up before training sessions, and you did a lot for me. You helped me switch to schools to play in a better soccer program. So I really appreciate what you've done in my life, and you've been a mentor for me.
No, it means a lot. It means a lot to hear from you. When I first saw you from coming in from Colombia, I kind of remind myself as a kid. I had a dream as well as a soccer player, being a young guy coming into a country that didn't speak the language. I didn't know anybody, so that is a kind of a flashback to remind myself how when you started and I started, we all have a dream, and I was blessed to be able to help you out because I knew the struggle when I came into this country. So it made me difficult to reach my goal and reach my dream. And I knew one day I was able to get back into someone and help out people to follow that dream. And I see you hungry and I see you wanted to fight better every day by day. And, and I knew the struggle. I know the struggle as a family coming into this country to become a dream and get into a better system as a family and coming into the U.S. for a better future and better dream as a family. And, it was always a blast to help you out. And I see it. I see the hungry on you. I knew you wanted to do something with yourself. I knew you were hungry to follow your dream as a soccer player. And that kind of reminded me of me as a kid. So it was always a blessing to help you out. I'm glad I was able to help you out. It's me as a coach is always willing to give back to the community, always willing to give up for the kids and make sure they follow their dreams. And that's just me, and I think you coming into our team, I think that Beach 2003 team was one of the toppest teams I've ever coached. It was a talented kids, man. So, it's some of those guys are in D1, some of those guys are still in college, so it was good. It was good. You came part of a really, really good program, especially at Beach, and coming into a program was successful and great talented kids. I think that opened doors for you a lot, so I think we got you. We even after you left Beach, you went on a tryout for Atlanta, right?
Yeah, I trained with Atlanta United like for a couple months.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, and
Our blood, and like, just not you as a coach, but like also what you were saying, like, you built a great community in that 2003 soccer program. So I loved it. And so to get started, what you talked a lot about dreams. What is a dream for you?
My dream as a kid was wanted to always be a professional soccer player. I always dream. I had the ball on my feet every day. There was my mom and my dad still we make jokes about it because when I was a kid, I wanted we will visit my grandma. Right, my grandma didn't want me to play soccer at all. She was like, "No, there's no soccer in my house. Like you can't have a soccer ball on your feet." And I was like, "Okay, my soccer ball doesn't go inside your house. I'm not gonna go inside your house." And I used to go back home. I was like, "No, if I go in, my soccer ball goes in." And my mom, my grandma passed away a couple of years ago. But my mom would always remind me, he was like, "Hey, remember this time when you used to go visit your grandma and your grandma said you can't bring your soccer ball?" And you were like, "No, my soccer ball doesn't come in. I don't go in." I used to go back home just for that, because I knew I had a dream, and I was like, I was like 4 or 5 years old, and my dream was there. I knew what I wanted to be, Obviously, a dream, it's always, as a soccer player, is to be a professional soccer player. Now that I'm older, there's bigger dreams, There's different obstacles. There's different ways to get into a professional environment, Back when I used to play, either you go to school or you play professional soccer, But it was tough. You had to be able to choose one or the other. But it wasn't easy, But that was my dream as a kid. I wanted to be a professional soccer player no matter what. I train every day. I play every day. My mom had to drag me from the streets to go back and eat because I didn't want to eat. I wanted to play soccer, and that was my dream. And I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do from day one, and that was my goal. Like I had a ball on my feet. I was eating. I have the ball on my feet, It's funny because I wanted to shower. My ball was next to me. My mom had to hide my soccer shoes. She had to hide the ball because she was like, she'll say it's getting annoying. Like the soccer ball, it's not attached to your life. And I was like, yes, it is, but when someone has a goal, you have to achieve it. You have to be able to push it. It's not going to be easy, but it's how much we want it. No one else is going to hand you that dream. You got to build your dream. And I think building that dream, it starts with dedication, commitment, hard work, your lifestyle. It's not just a dream to say, I want to be a professional soccer player, or want to be a doctor, or want to be a lawyer, or want to be a president. It just doesn't come to you. If you have that dream and you have that goal, no one's going to hand it to you. You have to build an identity for yourself to build that goal, that dream.
Of course, that's only true. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey? Like that was it. That story that you just talked about, that was in Mexico? Or
it was in Mexico. It was in Mexico. Then when I was 7 years old, my parents, decided to start following a dream and come back to the U.S. So we came here to the United States in 1994 or 95, I'm assuming, a long time ago. Me not knowing the language, me coming into this country, had no clue what's going on. In Mexico was everything soccer. I came to this country and I'm like, wait a minute, there's nobody playing soccer. What's going on in this country? I tell my parents I don't want to be here. People don't play soccer. What's going on? What am I going to do in my life? And once I started school, I'm like, oh, cool. They're playing soccer in school. So I really got into a school because I wanted to go because soccer got me into it. There was nobody in my neighborhood that wanted to play soccer. So when I went to school, people were playing school in recess, lunch, and I'm like, dude, this is cool, So I think soccer became a big part of my life because it created a culture in school. I wanted to go to school because soccer created an environment, if I go to school, I'm going to be able to play soccer. So those kind of things click in together, and I'm like, okay, I want to go to school. Why? Because soccer reflected to myself, so then I went to school, started playing soccer there. I met a couple friends that were into soccer, that were having a dream, and you kind of click to those people that understand it. Obviously me not speaking the language, I built a relationship with those people and kind of taught me a way in. There's a couple of friends of mine that I still have in contact. We still keep a group relationships. It's I was 7 years old. We're still great friends,
Do you speak Spanish or English?
Yeah, they speak English and Spanish and English. They speak both of the languages. It kind of got me into learning. They will help me do my homework. We'll after homework we'll get together and play soccer. So they helped me a lot. Because I was like struggling. I didn't know what to do. I was getting frustrated because it's a different language. And I think that varies a lot. And having a support system, someone that can help you and guide you through the process of coming from one country to another, it makes your life easier. I mean, you experience it, I experience it. We know it's having someone, a friend that could guide you and tell you, hey, this is how you do things. This is how we do, or explain you the language, or teach you to practice the language with someone. It gives you a better hope to understand the language and be more comfortable in this country, And then from there, it started getting better and better. Then when I was 8 years old, I got one of my buddies invited me to a soccer team. Still remember the team. It's called the Sharks. We were the Sharks back at the time, and they used to play in Lakewood, California. Sorry, close to Cerritos, in the border between Lakewood and Cerritos. I used to live in Bellflower, so my parents couldn't take me. They work 24/7. They'll go to work at 5 in the morning, come back at 7 o'clock at night, and training was at 6:30 o'clock after school. So my only way to get there was the bike. But I had a dream, and I was like, no one's gonna stop me. My parents told me, if you want to go, you got to find a way to get there. You just got to be careful. It's funny because my dad would actually, my older brother, his name Yanko. Actually, he became a big part of me, trying to help me to guidance. He was like my second dad, because my parents were always away. Working 24/7, having 2 jobs, trying to maintain ourselves, trying to keep our family stable, So my brother went on the bike with me and said, okay, this is a route to get into the training field. So you got to be able to know, because you're going to come to training. There's times I'm not going to be able to take you because we have a younger brother, which is Julio. And I took my bike. When my brother couldn't take me, I got on my bike and I said, I got to go to practice. I see you later. And I drove my bike for like 30 to 40 minutes. And I still was able to training for an hour and a half. After training, I got on my bike again, came back home and started doing homework, started eating, get in the shower. And it was a dream. That goals came with the dream, all the sacrifice was part of the dream. If you want to be a professional player, you got to make a difference, And the days I didn't train, I was outside my house, just hitting the wall, working on my first touch, working on my second touch, just keep playing and playing. And it was funny because in my house, we had those trash cans, and I used to hit the wall and I received it. And my second touch was to throw the ball inside the trash can. That was my training. Like I created myself, like, okay, I have to put the ball inside the trash can 10 times or 20 times, 30 times. And I created my own training habit just by being at home and said, okay, what can I do to get better? I had to use my imagination to get better. We don't, obviously back in the days, we didn't have the tools that every player has right now, there was not a lot of soccer teams. There was a whole bunch of soccer teams. Now there's a whole bunch. Before there was 5, 6, 7 locals if you were lucky, 5, and everything else was far away from us. So that's where I started. It was a Sunday league where I started. It wasn't a club yet, but I still make an effort to go out there. Actually, those guys were older than me. They were a year. I think I was playing 1 year up. I was playing a year up and started playing, and then after that there was this guy named, I forgot his name. What other coach's name? I think it was Paco. I think his name was Paco Martinez. He was the coach at Long Beach. FC Long Beach. He invited me out. He's like, hey, you play club? I'm like, no, I don't. He's like, hey, you have the talent to play club, And I was like, well, there's a problem because my parents don't drive. My parents didn't have a car at the moment. They were working 24/7. I'm like, can't. This is the closest I could, because I take my bike. And he was like, you know what? I'll pick you up. Come out to tryouts, and then we'll go from there. I'm like, cool, Obviously, I had to tell my parents, like, and I told my parents, like, hey, I met this guy, like, he's going to take me to training. My parents were like, wait a minute. What do you mean this guy? Like, you hardly even know this guy. What are you going to get in the car with someone? And I'm like, no, well, he's going to come in. He's a soccer coach, and my parents like, no, you just met this guy. And I'm like, dude, it's a soccer coach. It's not going to harm me, So my job, my mindset was like, soccer, he wants to help me. Why not? I didn't see the big picture, So He called me. He called my house, and I was like, "Hey, my parents didn't let me go because they don't know you, so you have to come and meet them." He's like, "Okay, cool. I'll take my." He had a son that play in the soccer too, so he brought him, and I know the kid, so they came to my house, introduced themselves to my parents, and I kind of told them, like, "Hey, I'm the coach for the soccer club. You know, I'm gonna play. I want your son to play for us. He has a talent." And my dad was like, "Well, there's one thing. We work 24/7. We work every day. We come back at home 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. So there's no way we could take it." The coach's like, "No, I'll pick him up. I'll take him to training and bring him back. And in the games, if you guys need help, we'll take him as well." So that was the whole plan. My dad kind of said, "Okay, let's give it a try to see how it goes," you know, and yeah, he picked me up. He was taking me to training for like a year. I was playing for him. I was playing a year up. Things were going well, and then my grades started hitting the ground. Because I was struggling. I'm struggling because of the language. I was struggling because I didn't know what to do. And sometimes I didn't know what was the answer for stuff that I didn't understand. So there was one of my neighbors that I came and knocked on my neighbor's door, and I'm like, "Hey, I need help because my dad. If I don't pick up my grades, like my dad's gonna get me away from playing soccer." So I had to find a resource. Like, what can I do be more successful in school? Obviously my friend helped me as much as he can, but he was at home. He was not there with me 24/7. So I had to find a resource to help me out, right? So one of my neighbors like kind of just knocked on the door. It was actually one of my friends that I met there. It was Tony at the time. I knock on the mom and I'm like, "Hey, can you help me out? Like I need help. Like I don't know what's going on." So she kind of just helped us out. She's like, "Hey, okay, anytime you need help with school, homework, come out to me and then I'll help you out." So she helped me out to do my homework, projects, give me a couple guidance to do my homework. So that kind of helped me a lot. I started picking my grades back up, and then my dad allowed me to go back to soccer. So, and once my dad told me if you don't do well in school, there's no soccer. And in my head, I was like, "Why? I don't need it. I could just be a professional soccer player." That was my dream. Like school's not gonna get me anywhere. I want to be a professional soccer player. I didn't see the big picture. That was my dream. And I think once my dad started putting a little more pressure, like, "No, you got to be better in school. You got to be better in school." I started realizing like, okay, I need this to play soccer. So if my dad wouldn't put me a little pressure, I think things would have been different, But I'm glad my dad actually did that. My parents, my mom and dad, and forced me to be a little better in school. And that kind of, once I started pushing more in school, I noticed the language barrier started helping me out. Like I started learning the language and I started putting a little more effort to it, because my dream was to be a soccer player. My dream was not to learn English or trying to go to school, But once they give me a little push, school became a big part of my factor because it was like, okay, able to do well in school is going to give me soccer. Because those are the rules my parents are giving me, So my dream became even bigger now. Like I had to sacrifice a lot more than just dream soccer, So I started getting to school. Like I started studying, I started learning. I got a book and like trying to learn English. Like I was asking questions. Like I was not afraid to go to the store and ask how to speak the language, even if I didn't know it. Like I made an effort to understand it because I knew my way to play soccer was to school because this is what my dad and my mom are saying. Like there's no other answer. Either you do better in school or there's no soccer, So I had to learn. So I started getting better, studying and trying to get better in things. And finally I got it, okay, cool. So I got the language. I know what I'm doing. And school became better for me because I put so much time and effort to it that I kind of enjoy it now, like doing the homework, doing the study. Like it became a habit now, So I get into, I can continue following my dream, trying to play soccer, playing club, and then, that coach left that club, so he left to another club. I think he moved to Orange County. He moved to his farther away, and I'm like, "Oh, I can't do that. Like, I can't drive that far. I can't take my bike. He cannot pick me up anymore." So I feel devastated. I'm like, "Oh my God, like I'm done. Like I don't have a soccer team. What am I gonna do? Like I can't play soccer. I can't do anything." So I was sad. I was like, I didn't know what to do after that. I was like, what am I gonna do? But then, middle school came on, and then there was soccer program in the middle school, and I was like, wow, there's a soccer team in the middle school. it became I was in my seventh grade. I'm like, oh wow, I went to Mayfair High School, and I'm like, oh, they have a soccer team. So I'm like, cool. There's a better way to do it now. My school has a soccer team, so I started training, playing with them, and then I heard about the high school, like, hey, they have a soccer program. So I kind of made a couple friends there, and they're like, hey, you don't play club? I'm like, no. My dad we play for a team. I forgot the name of that team at that moment. The club. So I think it was a TJ. I think it was a TJ United and then they invited me to play there. And then my friend used to help me out. At that time, my older brother had a car now. So my brother was driving, and my brother would drive me around because my brother, like, his dream was to play professional soccer player. He was a talented guy. So if I was that training, so now when my brother started driving, he was practicing. My brother was he was like 18, 19 at the moment. So 17 or 18. So I used to go with him, that he had one of his buddies named Jose that were always playing soccer. So I go play with them now because they're older. They're training. I used to go to their training sessions. I used to go train with them. I used to go run with them. So it became a habit. I was 4 years younger and they were 4 years older than me, but I was always there. My dream was always soccer, and so now I played for the high school. My brother was playing. I think my brother Yanko he was actually trying out for the Chivas USA when they barely were starting and trying to like build a program here. So him and his buddy were like playing there. They were just trying to get into the program, and trying to follow their dream, and I was trying to follow my dream. So when they had games, I wanted to go to the games. Even if it was raining, if it was like storm, they'll play in the rain. Like I was sitting there just watching the games. Like nothing stopped me.
Learning.
Yeah, just learning, trying to learn from them, trying to learn. Like not a little rain will stop me. Like I'd never question myself. Like, oh, it's gonna rain. I don't have to train today. No. If I had a dream, I knew it was gonna. No matter what I do, I have to follow that dream. So it wasn't easy for me. And then I got into the high school program. So I was in the high school program. I played for Mayfair. Obviously we met a lot of couple people in there that were really successful, went to a lot of D1s. We went through a lot of high school coaches. The high school coaches that was there, his name is Coach Hadi. We became a really good friend of mine now. He actually just retired recently last year. He actually offered me the job to start coaching there, but I was going to take it, but my son opportunities, I didn't want to risk it and just focus on my son. So, my brother helped me out a lot in the soccer career, following my dreams, trying to get into them. My brother going training with his friends. His friends were 4 years older than me, and I just continued playing with them, training with them, trying to get better and better. But I knew my goal was to be a professional soccer player. But in this country, it was tough because we had, I think at the moment we had only Galaxy, but there was no youth academy yet. There was only the reserves. There was nothing professional. There was no academy structure here in the U.S. where like now we have so many academy teams, right? So there was no there was no youth academy.
There wasn't like a path.
Yeah, there was not a path.
Like college.
It was college, and from college you get into the draft and you become a professional soccer player. So but I was still young. I was still in high school, so I was a long path for me to get there. I was like, okay, how can I get into college? How can I get into this? I was already looking into like, okay, I'm gonna go to the school. Because this school, I was like, I heard like one of my buddies would tell me, hey, one of my friends got drafted from Cal to Galaxy, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go there because they draft kids and they go to. That's the way to. So my dream was like, okay, they're getting players to the MLS, I'm gonna go there. Obviously, once he got into that program and college and all that, things were understanding now. Like I'm like, okay, cool. People were asking, hey, I would go to college. How are you going to pay for college? I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, people get loans. And I'm like, well, you need a social security to get into a loan. So my dream became shorter and shorter and shorter once I got older and understanding more of the lifestyle. Like, I came to this country being illegal. Like, I didn't have no citizenship, So now it was like my dream was falling apart. Because I was like, wait a minute, like able to go to school, like to get a loan, how am I going to pay for this? How are my parents going to pay for this? My parents don't have a stable job. Like my brother's working and helping me out, And I'm like, what am I going to do?
It wasn't just soccer. It wasn't just soccer.
yeah, it was overall like, what am I gonna do? Like, I gotta start a job. Like, my parents can't support me anymore. Like, they have bills, they have this. So I was in high school, so I was like, you know what? I gotta get a job. Me and my younger brother named Julio got a job. We were selling newspaper from door to door. I was like, this is gonna get me my soccer shoes. This is gonna get me a car. I'm gonna do it. So yeah, so after school, after soccer training, we used to go sell newspaper door to door, just to subscribe people to door, like trying to make money. And we did it all the way to 9 o'clock at night. Came back home and did our homework. Back to every day, Monday to Friday, and that was a dream, because the dream was continue going. Like, we had to find a way for my dream not to fall apart.
So everything that you were doing was aligned. It had to be aligned with that goal, with that dream.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I find a way to do it and kind of fall apart, and I'm like, okay, what can I do? What else can I do? And there's always going to be challenges to follow your dream, but you have to be able to find a different pathway. There's always a different pathway to get to that dream. So I talked to my parents about college. They're like, hey, I want to go to college because they're drafting people to the MLS, and this is what I want to go. And my dad was like, wait a minute, like, able to go to college? How are you going to pay for college? And I'm like, it's a good question. Whoa, I got a job. I'm like, I got a job. I'm going to be selling newspaper. So I used to save my money. I saved it. And then one day I was like, I remember, like, our TV broke. Like, I don't know what happened. Our TV broke at home, and me and my brother were like, hey, we need a TV. Let's just buy a TV, So with our money we have saved, we bought a TV for ourselves, and then, I remember for Mother's Day, we bought my mom a new fridge, and we just tried to give a little bit of things back to our family, because we needed it. My mom lost her job, so it was only my dad working, and and then from there, I left the newspaper and actually worked at McDonald's. I worked at McDonald's for 5-6 years, and then actually for 4 or 5 years. But it's a funny story, because the way I left McDonald's is because I wanted to continue playing soccer. And then when they started putting me to work Saturday and Sunday, so I went up to my manager, like, hey, I can't be working Saturday and Sunday. They're like, why? Well, because I play soccer. This is what I want to do. And the guy's like, no, I can't have you. You have to work Saturday and Sunday. I'm like, no, I'm not going to work Saturday and Sunday. I want to work Saturday, but I don't want to work Sunday, because that's the day I play. And he was like, no, it's not going to happen. I'm like, dude, this is my, like, I train every day. I work every day. Like, I'm going to school. I'm training. I'm going to work. Like, I need to play, And I remember one day my club team had like a finals. No, I think we had the state cup, and then, cause I was like 17 and I was still working, and I had to work part time and, and work. And then I'm like, so I called the guy. I'm like, hey, I have a big final, and like, I can't go to work. And he goes like, well, no, soccer's not everything in your life. And I'm like, what do you mean soccer's not everything? So I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. I hang up the phone, and I was like, just looking on my wall, and I remember, like, I had a Ronaldinho poster, Ronaldinho going like this. And I was just looking at him, and I'm like, dude, I'm not going to go to work. I'm going to go in. I'm going to quit my job because I want to go play soccer, and the soccer is going to get me somewhere. So I show up with all my uniform, and I go to the guy, hey, I'm not going to work tomorrow. And he goes, well, you can't. If you don't come to work, I'm going to have to fire you. I said, perfect. Here's your stuff. I'm not going to work no more. Soccer's my dream. I want to follow my dream, and this is what I want to do. So I left the job. I left my job at McDonald's, and I went to go play my game. And after my game, I was like, damn, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to do now? Like, what's going on? So after that, I was in, I became a senior. I was a senior when I graduated. I was training. And then I went to go try out with Chivas. Chivas de Guadalajara came up here and did a tryout. It was like Sueño. I don't know what it was. It wasn't Sueño MLS. It was something about, it was something about Chivas Sueño or something like that, like a whole bunch of people get to try out, everybody get to try out. So I signed up for it. I got a chance to try out, and then so one of the scouts actually came up to me and asked me like, hey, what's your name? What's your information? Where do you play? And I was like so excited. I'm like, oh my God, like this is it. I got it. Like I'm going to make it, So the guy, we traded information. The guy gave me his email. I went home and I told my parents like, hey, what's going on? This is what's happening. Oh, you know what? Before that happened, when I was 17 years old, I got invited to the USA national team.
Oh,
Yeah, so I got invited to the USA national team when I was 17. You know, I went to a couple of tryouts. I went to a couple of training sessions, and there was a whole bunch of kids trying out. I got invited. My brother was actually taking me at the moment, Yanko. So once I got there, I started training. I started doing my thing. They were taking players. They were cutting people. They were sending home. Okay, you come back next week. Keep coming out. Keep coming out. And I made it all the way to the end. I was excited. I was like so excited. I'm like, oh my god, I made it. Cool, go, And when it got time to like do all the paperwork, they're like, oh, okay. And I said, oh, where are you born now? I said, Mexico. They're like, oh, sorry, you can't play for us. And I'm like, what?
God, no way.
Yeah. So, I got invited and I went to go try out and I made it and they were like, sorry, you're Mexican. You can't play for the USA national team. So once they told me that made me realize that I have nothing to do in this country. I was like, my dream is done. Like, this guy's told me I cannot play soccer because I was destiny. I was born in Mexico. I didn't decide. I was Mexican. That's my destiny. And I came to a country that I was in. I feel like I wasn't part of it now at that moment. My dream crashed. Like, I just hit the rock bottom. I cried for days. My brother was like, no, there's more options. Like, no, this guy just literally told me I cannot play soccer in this country because I don't have a citizenship. I wasn't born here. I was not a citizenship. I'm from another country. Like, my dream is gone.
The same thing was going to happen if you made it to a professional team.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have social security.
Of course. So, that's what they told me. They're like, no, you can't be a professional soccer player because you don't have the access to be in this country, So my dream just crashed. Like, I didn't want to do anything with soccer. I remember I grabbed my shoes and threw them away. Like, I was like, I'm done. What are we doing here? And I kind of, at those moments, I was like 16, 17. I was so mad at my parents for bringing me to this country. I was like, you brought me in here and without me knowing, like, I have no goals. I have nothing, So I was like, I have nothing to work for now. Like, it's done. What am I going to do now? So, my parents were kind of taught to me there's more than that. Soccer's not everything. Go to school and try to get something out of it. So I was like, whatever. So I started going back to school. I started getting more into high school soccer. I was like, this is all I have. Like, my Joe was like to play soccer, and my soccer coach was a big part of it. Coach Haley was a big part. Like, he became a great friend of mine, good mentor, good coach, And then got into this. I was just enjoying the moment there, playing. I didn't play club at the moment yet no more. I started playing because I started working now. I started working as a carpenter, doing cabinets. So I was there for a while. A great guy. My boss was such an amazing guy. He helped me out through a lot. Like, he helped me buy my first car. I got blessed to meet a lot of people, so he helped me buy my first car. Like, I used to I didn't have a car at the moment, so he's like, hey, I'm gonna buy you a car. Every weekly, I'm gonna take $100 away from your paycheck. And I'm like, what? I'm like, dude, this is amazing. I'm like, I'm gonna be able to have my car. Like, cool. So he helped me out a lot.
So it's like all the people that you met throughout your whole story, like, because you had such a big dream and you were doing everything you could for that dream to come true, like, they were helping you out, like, and one person here, one person here, one person here, and they were all building up your dream because you wouldn't be able to be here without all those people that helped you in your story.
I agree. Yeah, I think I was blessed. People that have dreams and are working really hard get blessed to find the right people to guide them to the right direction, and I think that was me. Like, he guided me to this, one of my buddies actually invited me to work there, and, I got hired there and we became great friends. Like, I was working him for a while. He helped me buy, actually the car was his brother's. It was a Honda Civic 2003 at that moment, and it was a great Civic, 2 doors. Like, his brother was going to buy a new car. His brother was actually going to turn in that car to buy a newer one, to buy a truck. So and my boss came back, I was like, hey, my brother's going to give that car, he's going to pay it. I said, dude, I don't have freaking $8,000, $10,000 to pay for the car, because it was 2003 car, and that was the year 2003. It was like, no, sorry, I apologize. It was 2000. That car was a 2000, and it was 2003. So it was like a 3-year-old car, but he still owed money to pay it off. Yeah, so it was pretty new, but he still had to pay it off. Like, he owed like 8,000 or 9,000. So my boss was like, okay, cool. I'm going to continue paying it off, but I'm going to take $100 out of your paycheck every week. I'm like, cool, So he helped me out, like, to have a car. And I'm like, dude, I was like, so excited because I could go to training now. I could go here. I could go there. I could find a club that is farther away from my house, and I could actually drive. So I was like, cool. So he kind of helped me in that sense for like, okay, cool. He put me in the right path with this work. My boss helped me out, and I worked there for so many years, and then that's when the tryouts came along when I was a senior. I was a senior in high school. I was a senior in high school. That's when the tryouts for Chivas came along, and I got invited to play for I got invited to go try out in Mexico, and my dad was like, no, you're not going to go. My dad was like, you're not going to go. You're not going to leave our family. You're too young. He's like, you got to finish school. You're not going to do that. And I'm like, come on, this is what I want to do. So I was so mad at my parents because
they want to be able to come back.
Yeah. But, that was my dream, and I didn't see the big picture. All I saw was like, I have an opportunity. I want to take it. I want to risk it. I'm going to go, and I'm going to do it. So when you have a dream, you don't see the goods and bads. You don't see what's above that. You don't see what could happen. You don't see but, and I was so disappointed in my parents. Like, I was like, you guys don't get it. Like, I was mad, like, I was like, what's going on, And my dad told me, if you graduate from high school, then we'll see what we can do for you, But I was like, they're not going to wait for me. I'm like, it's either now or never, And my dad was like, no, you're not going, So I was like, whatever, So I think I called the coach. And I was like, hey, sorry, my parents said I can't go, and they're like, okay, good luck, hope we see you in the future and what's going on. So then started playing. I graduated from soccer. I graduated from high school, right? And then when I graduated, one of my uncles, name is Lalo, one of my uncle's brother worked in Mexico, right? As a coach. And he met one of the coaches from Chivas Guadalajara, and they became good friends. And then one time my uncle came over here to California, and he saw me play. He was like, hey, you got some talent, He's like, have you ever tried trying out? I'm like, no, I haven't, I want to do it. So he's like, you know what? He's like, I think my brother has a really good connection with Chivas. So I'm like, oh my God, like, this is cool, because my uncle was really good. Like, he could have become a professional soccer player, So things happen, like a couple months later, I call my uncle. I'm like, hey, uncle, what's going on? Did you talk to your brother? He's like, yeah, I actually talked to my brother. We got a business called the Scout from Chivas. He said to call him up. I was like, cool. I called him up. I'm like, hey, what's going on? They go, my name is so-and-so. And I was like, a year ago, one of the scouts from you guys kind of saw me and invited me out through your program to Chivas, but I couldn't go because my parents didn't allow me to go in the moment, And he was like, what's his name? And I was like, so I kind of told him the name. I don't remember the name of the back of my head, but I was like, this guy, his name is so-and-so. I have his business card. Like, he's like, cool, let me touch base with him. He's like, call me back tomorrow. So then I call him back the next day, and I'm like, hey, how are you? This is Jose. He's like, hey, how are you guys? He's like, yeah, I spoke to the scout that scouted you a couple years ago. He's like, he remembers you. We want to invite you to come out. And I'm like, cool. Perfect. So I had a conversation with my dad and my brothers, and my brother, and my dad was like, look you finish high school, but it's a bigger picture than that. If you don't make it, there's no way you're going to be able to come back, And I was like, no, I get it, So I was like, my older brother had a dream too to be a professional soccer player, but he didn't get a chance to do it. So my brother goes, hey, go up there. And I didn't get a chance to do it. He's like, I want you to go up there and do it. I'm going to help you. I'll send you money. I'll support you while you're over there, It's like, just follow your dream. He's like, I didn't get a chance to do it. I don't want you to go I don't want you to happen whatever happened to me. I didn't get a chance to follow my dream. Now I'm older. I can't do it. He's like, I'm going to support you. So my dad was like, if you guys want to do it, we're going to support you. You want to go follow your dream? I'm like, yes. My dad was like, well, you're going to be up there by yourself. And I'm like, I'm okay. Like, I'm ready. I want to do it. So I left.
But that's the great thing. Like, your parents always supported you, but told you what was right, but they told you like you can do whatever you want and gave you like the good path.
Yeah, yeah. I think my parents guide me in the right direction, and they kind of guide me to make the right decision. And when they feel it wasn't the right move, they will say no. Even if it's your dream, it's not a right move right now. And I think that's what it was guiding us to the right, you know. And then so
Supported.
they're always supportive. They were really supportive about things. You know, they wanted me the perfect time, and they wanted me to finish high school. And that was the most important thing for my mom and my dad. Like, no, you got to finish high school. You got to finish high school. Like, no, you're too young. No, you know. And I think my dad get it because he's a big soccer fan. He's a big Chivas fan. You know, we're all a big Chivas fans, so we're just super excited about the Clásico coming up. But that's another thing, you know. But you know, so I left. I left to Mexico. You know, I went to a country that I didn't remember as a kid. I was born in Mexico. I came in when I was like 6, 7 years old. I remember my uncles. I don't remember a lot of my cousins, you know, but it was like a dream. Like it was like I'm back to my country. I'm back to my roots. But I feel like I coming from outside coming in, you know. It was like I had to learn how to get around. I had to wake up at 5 in the morning to go to training because my house was like far away from where we were training, you know. So I'd get up at 5 in the morning and go to training, take a bus, take the metro, take another bus to get to training, just to be there at 8 o'clock. To be there, I was there like around 7:15, 7:20 because I like being early. So I get there, you know, and then tell me to show up to training, show up to the tryouts. I was there at trial for about 2 to 3 weeks, you know. And I started playing, started training, tried to get into the habit and trying to get into the environment, you know. And so they had 3 programs in Mexico. They had the Fuerzas Básicas and they had escuelas. They had escuelas underneath Chivas, right? So they're like, you know what? Right now, we have to send you to the escuela de Chivas. I'm okay, cool, whatever. It is what it is, you know. So they send me there for like 6 months, and then after the 6 months, they pushed me back up to Chivas, you know.
Like at the time, you were like, "That's not what I think it should be," but then
Yeah.
That's it. That's a challenge, and I'm gonna prove them that I can be higher up.
Yeah. So, you know, it's dream is not about just making it. It's about you have to be able to understand there's millions of people trying out. And what I realized in Mexico, kids stop going to school to follow their dream and become a soccer players. You know, people in the United States, we still have to go to school. We still have to go to work. We still have to manage training. It's a longer routine than Mexico, you know. So you go into a competition that is 100 times stronger because these kids, that's all they have. They have nothing else. They don't go to school. They don't have a job. You know, they go to training. That's their life. That's their livelihood. Like this is all they have.
They don't have a plan B.
Yeah, they don't have a plan.
B, so they're gonna make it.
Yeah, it's and that was it. You know, and I got to meet a lot of soccer players that are actually playing professionally right now. You know, that were there with Chivas. Great friends of mine now that we still keep in touch. You know, they play professional. Like they were great. We met through Chivas, and then from there, like I was sent to the academy, right? And then they actually gave me a push back to go to the 3rd division. So the 3rd division in Mexico back was like you pretty much just join a trial. The 3rd division it's not guaranteed a contract. You're still those are the players that are keeping their radar to making sure they have a step to make it to the 2nd division or the Liga Premier. You know, they call it Liga Premier back in the days. That it was like 1st division, Liga Premier, 2nd division, and then the 3rd division. The 3rd division was like a feeding system to the 2nd division. You know, it would have made it. So you still didn't have a contract. So you're still not making money. You know? So my brother was sending me money, you know? So I found it tough. I was like, dude, I have no money. I'm depending on my brother. I came to a country that I was born in, but I have no friends. My cousins, you know, I had to find a way to do it. I'm waking up at 5 in the morning to go to training, getting there at 7 every day. And I did it for almost 6 months, 7 months, and I was never late. You know, I used to get up, come back, shower, work out. I remember the first preseason, I couldn't get up. Like, I feel like here in the United States, I was doing the right trainings. Once I went to Mexico, dude, I couldn't get up. Like, preseason was hell for me. You know, like my legs were all sore, my back was hurting, my legs, my toes, everything was hurting. because it was a proper preseason for a professional program,
Yeah, like this week I was training for like I've been like in my surgery since my surgery was that was like on December. I've been doing physical therapy and a lot of things that like a month ago makes the recovery doesn't not go in the plan. And I just realized this week that okay, maybe I've been doing a lot of training, but I haven't been doing that much training that I did.
Yeah.
Well, you were like when you were in the US, like you thought you were training a lot, but probably wasn't enough.
To be at that level.
Exactly. So there's always more to do.
There's always more. There's always more to do. There's always more to progress, and there's more is never enough. That's something that I learned. If you really want it, you have to do extra. Um, so I remember like being all sore, like doing the preseason, and I was like, oh my god, what are we doing here? Like I was like, I never been this sore in my life. Like there was part of my muscles that I never knew I had, but it was part of dedication and dream. Like I didn't care. Like it comes with the pain. The dream comes with the pain. So then I got invited from Chivas. I got invited in Mexico. They call they did a tournament in Mexico. It's a big tournament in Mexico. So I got invited to a tournament, in Mexico City. It's El Torneo de los Barrios. They call it Torneo de los Barrios. It's one of the biggest tournament in Mexico. Like it's big. Like every city competes. So I got invited to play from one of my buddies. Say, hey, I'm in Mexico. They do a big tournament. I said, we're off season because we're off season. So they're like, hey, I got invited to play for this tournament. He's like, they're gonna pay us to play for that. And I'm like, dude, let's freaking do it. If I'm gonna get paid to play, let's do it. So he invited me out. His name was Pepe. Pepe invited me out. We went to go play for Tepito. That team. This Tepito is one of the toughest country in Mexico. Like the city, like it's like really bad country. I mean, not the country, the city. It's one of the toughest city. Like it's really dangerous in there. And we got invited to play for the team, and we're like, oh my god, like this guy's, I can stop, but they're paying us. And it's funny because a kid used to pick us up from the metro. A kid, I'm talking about like a 10, 12-year-old kid. He'll pick us up, be like, hey guys, I'm going to take you guys to training. He'll guide us to the whole city just to keep us safe, And we train there and we play there, and they used to give us, I think they used to give us like 750 pesos a game, or 1,000 pesos a game. And we made it all the way to like semifinals. It was good. It was a good experience. And from there, there was this coach from Atlante. His name is Marquez, his name is Rafa Marquez, not the real Rafa Marquez, but this guy's Rafa Marquez, that saw me play there. So he invited me and Pepe to go train with him in Mexico. So we started training with him. He's like, hey, I send players to different teams, like, because we didn't have a contract at Chivas yet, so we could go and try with other people just to go. So we went with him, and when I got there, I started training with him. Javi Bermudez was there. Javi Bermudez played for professional for Atlante. He played for America. He played for Puebla. He's also playing with Atlante right now. I met him there and we became really good friends. So we were doing so well together that they sent us to Atlante. Then we went to Atlante, From Chivas, we went to training and we went to Atlante. Then we went together to Atlante. So we were there for about 6-7 months. We went straight to the Liga Premier, and that's when the contract was there. Like the contract was there for Atlante, and we both played there. It was a great time. We experienced it playing more. It was more a professional environment. We were actually like training in a nice little stadium. We were training in a nice little facility. Like we had more professional environment, and then out of nowhere, like Javi Bermudez gets a professional contract with the first team, and I was still playing there. So we became good friends. He was also with the first team. I was playing the reserve. And I just, even when he was playing professionally, we keep in touch. Like, hey, how are you? How's everything going? He'll like motivate me to do better, but I never made that push to the professional environment. Like I was in the system now, because they gave us a contract now. We got a professional contract, but it was like the first team and the reserve, so I always stay with the reserve. I never made my professional debut because things that happened, So I was there for like a couple years, and I was like, what do I want to do with my life? I think I So I was like, what I want to do in my life, do I want to continue following my dream? Do I want to get back to the U.S.? What do I want to do?
You're not getting paid with there.
No, I was getting paid now because you got a contract. Because you got a contract now, so you're getting paid. You're getting paid now. So, but I was like, okay, how long can I do this? I was getting frustrated because I was not getting a chance to get into the first team. It's always a reserve, and to be honest, a soccer player is a dream. You get frustrated, because you see people going up and making the professional debut, and you're not doing it. And so you get frustrated, like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And I was, at the time, I was already 20. Yeah, I was 22 at that moment. I was 22, and I was like, what am I gonna do? So I made a decision. So I was like, you know what? Let's give it a challenge one more year. One more year. Let's give it a chance one more year. Do it best I can and figure out, because I still wanted to follow my dream, but my dream was like coming down the hill because I didn't see that professional debut. Like, I want to be with the first team. I don't want to be the reserves, I mean, reserves get a professional contract, but your dream is to play in that stadium with all those fans, So I get hurt. I was out for like a month, and I was just like devastated. I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back to the U.S. One day I wake up and I'm like, I'm going to go back to the U.S. I called some of my buddies. I was like, hey, I'm going back to the U.S. My parents didn't even know, I think. I left everything behind. And I just said, I'm going to leave. This is me playing for Atlanta. And the reason I wanted to leave, I think, was because I remember because that's when Chivas USA was starting. So, and then Chivas USA they announced like, oh, we could get Mexican Americans here, like we could get Mexicans in the Chivas USA. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go knock on Chivas USA door. I have a history of playing professional now. I have something to show them, like, hey, look, I was a professional player for Atlante. Can I go knock on your door? That was my situation. Like, okay, that was my way of thinking. I was like, okay. So I decided to come back. I came back. A couple of my buddies, we met on TJ and we just came back. We came back. They went to go pick me up in TJ because I didn't even have, like, I didn't want to even fly here. Like, I had to, like, go through TJ, So some of my buddies picked me up, came back over here. And then, I rehab here. I got better from my injury. Started getting back to training. Now I knew what kind of training to do. So I went to Chivas USA. At that moment, it was Dennis de Claus. One of the coaches at Atlante knew Dennis de Claus really well. He was a director at Chivas USA. So he gave me his email, he gave me his business card, and said, "Hey, go talk to this guy. He could probably get you in. What's going on?" So then I met Dennis de Claus, and I said, "Hey, I play for Atlante. Here's my resume. Here's my contract. This is what I have. I'm free agent." And he goes, "Okay, cool. I'll get in touch with you to see what's going on." So he calls me. He goes, "Hey, Jose, how are you?" It's like, "Hey, good." It's like, "Hey, what's going on? Where are you born?" And I'm like, "Oh, here. I'm born in Mexico." He's like, "You have citizenship?" I'm like, "No, I don't." He's like, "Oh my God." He goes, "Well, we can't get you a professional contract because you don't have no citizenship." And I'm like, "Oh my God." So he goes, "We're starting our academy." He's like, I could give you a job as academy coach right there. We could start working with you. I was like, cool. So that's what I did. I started. My first job opportunity was working with Chivas USA. Like they were doing, like soccer clinics. Like we go to the park and like to schools and like give up free clinics, soccer clinics. Yeah, like soccer camps, for schools. So that's what I started doing. And I was like, cool, my dream is done. I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm just going to focus on coaching. Like I saw a big picture of coaching them. So then, then a couple years later, I got my citizenship, So I was like, okay, cool. What do I do now? Like now I'm older. I can now play professional because I'm older, So what did I do? So I talked to Dennis. Dennis was like, hey, we're going to open up our academy. We're going to hire you. We're going to talk to this guy named Sasha Vandermold, which is my soccer mentor. Sasha's big part of my life. I just saw him yesterday. We had a little chat, Sasha's my soccer mentor for years. Like that guy knows soccer in the back of his head. Everything that I know is because of this guy, So he's like, go talk to Sasha. Sasha's going to be the academy director. See what you could do with him, So I started going. I met Sasha, Sasha's like, hey, Sasha, how are you? I spoke to Dennis. He's like, yeah. He's like, at the moment, we don't have anything for you, because obviously Sasha brought his staff, and like we go. He's like, and I said, well, can I just help out? He goes, well, we'll see. Come in a couple weeks and see what's going on. And I guess there was one of these guys that was going to help them out. Was going to help them out, right? I don't know the name of the guy, but the guy never showed up. Like, he never showed up to his job. So I show up, and I thought, she was like, you know what, perfect. Like, right now, we don't need a coach, but we want someone to help us with the staff. Like, he's just gonna help out. Like, I was just like picking up cones, or like helping Sasha out, like getting all the equipment together, or going, or helping Sasha do the warm up, or helping Sasha put the cones for the warm up. Like, that was my role at that time, because I had no coaching experience, right? So I started getting more involved. I started learning more from Sasha, and then Sammy Rivas, was a great coach as well, played professional for Chivas. Sammy, with all the condolences who passed away a couple years ago, such a great guy that I learned from as well. Sammy actually played professional in Mexico for Chivas, and I learned from Sasha. I learned from Sammy Rivas, and they became great mentors for me. Like, they were training and they were teaching me how to become a better coach.
So how important do you think mentors are?
Mentors are really, really good, important. They're a big part in your life, because there's times with we get stuck, and there's moments we're going through a hard time and we don't know what to do, or we kind of just, our hopes are down and we feel we have a problem, and your mentor will help you, give you the right direction. They're like, no, keep it up, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great thing. How about you try this? How about you try that? Like, you can always go back to them when you're stuck on something and you can't figure it out, and they'll help you to the right direction. They'll give you tools to keep going and not be stuck, or follow another direction. Like, hey, you don't know what is going on, but follow this direction. It might help you a little more. They'll give you guidance. And we had and this is why I met with Sasha. Sasha's a great guy. He started a good program coming on. He's working with a program right now. He's building a soccer program, which is huge right now, and I am super proud of him because he deserves it. And like, for me, like, I'm working with my teams, and like, we kind of talked about my son when I went out, because my son was in the hospital for a couple months, and then we kind of talked about soccer. We talked about my son. We talked about what's the future looking like. What can we do to for soccer? My knowledge of soccer, his knowledge of soccer. So hearing it from him and seeing what his goal, his dream is, it's like, it motivates me more. Like, oh man, I want to be like that guy. That guy's great soccer guy. Always tells you the truth. Always tells you what you want to hear. It guides you to the right direction. So honest, and just doing the right thing every day. And that's the soccer mentor you want to have. And I always still go back and be like, hey, Sasha, let's go for a coffee. And I know Sasha will always be there for me when I'm like going through a rough time in my life, personal life, or soccer related. He's a guy that we can always go back to. Sammy was another one. And like I said, my blessings to his family. Sammy passed away a couple years ago. Sammy worked for us at Chivas. So great people to feel pulled into continue. Now, my soccer dream of playing professional soccer, when I got into Chivas, my dream was to become a professional soccer coach. My mindset changed. Like, I want to be a professional soccer coach. Looking at Sasha, looking at Sammy during the sessions, I fell in love of becoming a coach. So I was helping out. I was not like,
How did you feel about soccer as a player? Like, did you feel bad or frustrated, or like as a failure? Or did you take all of that as a learning lesson to help you now in your dream?
To be honest, I feel like soccer became a big part of my life, and I felt like I accomplished so much, because if I would have not went to Chivas, if I wouldn't went to Atlante, I would not be here. I would not be doing what I'm doing right now, because it helped me knock on another door to stay with Chivas USA, to get in the door to Chivas USA. Make sense? So you sacrifice something and you work really, really hard for something, for your dream, and that dream is going to open up another door, and that's exactly what happened to me. Like, me giving my dream, going trying out for Atlante, playing for Chivas, playing for Atlante, like, helped me to build a relationship with other people to help me to get to Chivas USA, So I wasn't getting paid at Chivas. I didn't get paid for like a year. I was just a volunteer. I was volunteering because I wanted to get there. I wanted to learn. After a year, Sasha saw the potential on me, saw how much effort I was putting into it. And one day Sasha goes like, "Hey, Jose, we're going to be able to pay you. We're going to be able to get you in here. We have a role for you. You're going to be able to help us out with trainees. You're going to be able to help us out with setting up the warm-ups. You're going to be able to do all this. You're going to be able to travel with the team, you know?" So after 1 year of just being volunteer and helping out and learning, Sasha saw something in me and he said it, even until at this point, he was like, "Dude, from day one to, I'm going to get you what you were always pulling dedication, commitment, And I earned it. I earned something that they were given to me. Like, no, nothing given to me. No, I earned it myself. It wasn't given to me, So I see my sons. So it was given to me. I earned it. It was never given to me. I earned it. And Sasha always told me, you earned it. All your hard work, dedication, your commitment to this team eventually earned it. And I was part of something. I was part of a professional program. I remember going home and Sasha was like, "Hey," he texted me, "Hey, Jose, I need to talk to you." And I'm like, this is before training. I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen now? Because I was not part of the staff at that moment, So in my head, I was like, oh, he's going to fire me, like he's going to bring someone else or whatever. He's not going to need me anymore because I'm not in the staff. I'm not part of official the staff. I didn't have a job. I was just a volunteer. So I met with Sasha and he was like, "Hey, Jose, he's like, what do you think about the team? What do you think about the program? What does it mean to you?" And I'm just going to say, it means a lot to me. Like, I wanted to be a professional player. Didn't happen, but now this is my dream. I want to be a professional soccer coach. And I think I'm learning a lot from you, from Sammy, from Miguel Ramos, from Claudio Trabatoni, Clay Plummer. Clay Plummer is also the coach from LAFC right now that was with us at Chivas. And also, like, Claudio Trabatoni played for a lot of MLS teams. My blessings to him. His son is actually diagnosed with cancer and he's fighting something really hard. But, all my blessings to him, and his family and his son. But, Sasha came up to me and said, "Hey, Jose, like, all your hard work and dedication is going to pay off. We're officially going to bring you to the staff." Oh my God. Like, I just felt blessing working for a professional program. Sasha saw me from starting from the bottom, working my way up, and he was like, "You're going to be part of the staff, you're going to be able to help us out training now." And he goes, "And you're going to be able to travel with us." I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, travel with the team, be part of the team, like travel with them, we travel all over the U.S. and all my hard work was paying off. And then one day, like 2 or 3 years later, I keep working with them. I keep learning so much from Sasha, just learning the training from Miguel, from Sasha, from Sammy Rivas, being there at the trainings every day, like learning, taking notes, watching the first team play, and then one day, like, Dennis, like, "Hey, Jose, we're going to need help with the first team, like, you could come out and help out." Like, I think they gave me a job with the first team, like being like helping out with equipment. Like, I was working in the morning with the first team, just helping out with equipment, trying to help out with the training, setting up the sessions, like learning. I was learning from the first team, and then the afternoon I would come back with the academy. I did that for a while, learning from the first team, learning, and then I was there for about 13 or 14 years with Chivas, and Sasha being my mentor and learning from Sasha and Miguel Ramos and Sammy Rivas, and that's what all my growth came, like all my soccer, my love for coaching became because of Chivas. Chivas opened me the opportunity and that dream of becoming a coach and becoming better. And I always told myself, if one day I become a talented coach, I'm always going to give back to someone. I'm always going to help others that want to follow that dream, and guide them to the right direction. And I always tell players, my dream was to be a professional soccer player. That was my dream. Now there's bigger dreams now. And I tell my players now, there's college, you could get into the MLS draft. Soccer is nice. It's so much fun, so much bigger dream. But hey, be realistic. In the United States, you need academics. That should be your goal. If you're good enough, you're going to make that dream by getting into the draft. But you have to have a plan B. That dream, it's nice to have a dream, but you always have to have a plan B in that dream. You cannot just focus on one dream because that dream eventually is going to wear out. And what are you going to do? You're going to be stuck with, okay, what do I do now? And I put myself in their shoes back when I was young. Like I didn't know what to do at that moment. You know, what am I going to do now? You know, like when the national team didn't take me because I was not a USA citizenship. My dream crashed and I didn't have a plan B. You know, I didn't know what to do. But like, I was like, what am I going to do now? Like, soccer's done for me, you know? And I always encourage my players to go to school, to go back to college, to finish a degree, you know? So that, going back to Chivas opened up so many opportunities for me. You know, so much learning
Very
profession.
smart about all of that is that like every time they get a challenge, you were so resourcefulness, like that you just look for different ways to make it happen. Like you didn't have training, you look for a different way to train. You're not on like just with the wall, with the trash can. And you didn't make the US national team. Okay, you didn't get stuck right there and like just broke down. You like look for other resources.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest challenge. You know, having a dream is going to come with challenges. You know, no one tells you it's going to be easy. Having a dream is nice, it's super nice, but there's challenges to everything. There's challenges to life, and we as a players that we want to have a dream, or as a person, you have a challenge every day. You know, and you have to be able to focus on that challenge, and you have to be able to fight that challenge to have a dream. You know, and I didn't give up. I just felt when I was in Chivas, I was like, I want more. I want more. Every day I wanted it more. You know, I kind of distanced away from my friends a little bit. You know, one of my best friends, left to the Air Force. So he was in the Air Force. Name's Alex. You know, he left to the Air Force, and I started focusing more. And I have a couple more buddies here that were just hang out and play soccer. When I started working with Chivas, I kind of distanced away from everyone. I just said, you know, I want to focus. I was so dedicated to doing something that I just said, okay, this is what I want to do. I'm going to put everything to the side. You know, I'm going to put girlfriend, friends, family. I'm going to dedicate my life to something, and I'm going to put a life and soul and everything, effort to it to make something out of it, you know? Because you have to sacrifice a couple things to follow that dream, you know? And I did. I distanced away from everyone. Like, I didn't get a chance to see my family a lot because it was a lot of time and effort, you know? A lot of dedication. And yeah, so I focused so much. I was on the field. I was at training facilities. I was like looking at the first team training. I was able to go watch the first team sessions. I was there. I was always looking and learning, you know, because there's always space for learning, no matter how good you are, you know, because
How did those people understand you?
the people, you know what? I think some of my friends didn't understand that. They just felt like, oh, he doesn't want to hang out with us. He thinks he's too good. Or it came more a little bit hate relationship now, because there was hate between stuff, you know, like I feel like as a soccer player, you've seen somebody else, and I think this is the biggest problem. Watching a friend succeed is more as a hate, instead of just clapping for him and wishing, yes, you got this, good job, keep up the great work, you know. I think it comes more as a hate, like, oh my god, jealousy. It becomes more as a jealousy, knowing that someone else is making it, you're not making it, you know. And I think that's general in life, you know. You see that a lot. You instead of just wishing a buddy like, hey, great job, man, you're doing what you're doing, you're following your dream, not your just dream, but my dream that as a soccer player, I didn't make it, but you're making it, great job, you know. And those were friends that were just always there for me, you know. Like, I have my one of my best friends, Alex, it's a great friend of mine, always supported me, you know. No matter what part of it, he was at the Air Force, she was in the Air Force, she'll send me a text, how are you, how's everything going? I was on soccer, how's life? Even now, like, you know, he's still in the Air Force, comes back and say hi to me, comes back and said, I came and visit my son. We became good friends and still understands, like, once in a while he texts me, hey, how's everything, how's life, how's you doing, how's your family, how's soccer, we keep in great touch, you know. And I think I still have a really good relationship friends that we keep a court, you know, with other friends, like, that I still keep in touch. But I think some of them were like, I kind of distance away from them, and I saw a path where we're like, I'm gonna stop talking to him because he's doing something that I'm not doing, you know, or go hang out with your soccer buddies. And I heard that a lot, you know, like, go hang out with your soccer buddies because that's all you care about, you know, or whatever. But it's like, I have goals, you know, like, I have a dream to get there, and gonna come, you're gonna leave a lot of things behind, you know. There's gonna be people that are gonna like you more because of what you're doing. They're gonna support you what you're doing. There's gonna be people that are gonna hate you, They're gonna hate you because they want your dream. You know, there's millions of people that want your dream, and they're just gonna hate you because they want to be in your shoes. You know, and you got to be able to surround yourself with great people, great mentors, great people that are gonna help you to get better. You know, and that's what dreams are about. You want people to help you to get to that dream. You know, I'm not putting down the people that can't help you. There's friends and there's going to be friends. There's going to be different type of friends, you know. They're going to be type of friends that you can go back to and lay your shoulder on it and talk about life. There's going to be friends that you could talk about and how to help you to get better. There's going to be friends that are going to help you to follow that dream. And there's going to be friends that are going to help you to get to that dream. You know, so I think there's different type of friends that you could relate to. They're going to guide you to the right direction. Type of different people. You know, I think Sasha became a big part of my dream. You know, becoming a better soccer coach. I could always depend on Sasha. Sasha became a scout for the Mexican national team. You know, when I was coaching already, I kind of called him up and like, hey, Sasha, come and see my team. Sasha came out to my team. He came and scouted my team, see if there was any talent for the Mexican national team. You know, that's how close I was with him. Like, I could just call him and be like, hey, Sasha, come out. There's talent here, there's talent there. And we just came, you know, he trusted me, you know. And then Sasha got a chance to play, coach professionally for the Chivas in the first team, second team, academy. So he did every level, you know.
So he stopped being a mentor and became your friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Now he's a friend of mine. He's a great friend of me, like a soccer mentor, great friend, you know, and we just keep building that relationship. Now he built a great program, as a soccer program, tennis program, baseball program for after school programs. And I'm so blessing for him. Like, he deserves anything, you know, like, if anyone, he deserves that and so much because of how honest he always tells me, dude, you gotta be honest. You know, you have to, honesty is gonna get you a long way. You know, and he always tells me, don't get involved with something that is not gonna look right. You know, if you feel that thing is not gonna look right, you walk away from it. You know, Sasha is one of the most honest guys I know. You know, and he always told me, Jose, you have to be honest. Honesty is gonna get you a long way. Always do the right thing. Never takes shortcuts to a pathway. You know, always walk straight and guide the right direction, you know, because that's what's going to get you there. You want people to know you for being honest and trust you, you know, because that's how you build a trust. People are going to trust you. You're going to create a name for yourself by doing the right thing. You know, if you do something different, people are not going to believe on you, you know, and it goes with coaching. You know, you got to be able to prepare yourself for coaching. Like, if I just come in and do whatever I'm training, like, parents are not going to believe you. Players are not going to believe you, you know? And we're going back to the team we had with you guys. Like, you guys were ready to commit to training every day. You guys were ready. You guys were hungry. You guys were hungry to come to training. You know, like, we were such a good team. There was always a battle that you guys were ready to prepare. But think about it. If I didn't come prepared to my sessions with you guys, do you think you guys would be ready to come and enjoy sessions? No. You know, so it's always comes, the dream is big, you know, but there's always different guidance to different dreams. One dream will open up another dream, and this dream will help you, guide you to another dream, you know, and I think that's the pathway that I took. You know, my soccer guided me to tryouts. Soccer guided me to Chivas. Soccer guided me to, Atlante. My dream becoming a professional soccer player helped me build another dream to become a professional soccer coach, to coach for a professional environment, you know, and then from Chivas, I went to Galaxy. You know, I worked for Galaxy for 6 years. You know, I was there for a while, helping out with the academies, you know, built a great relationship there. And then from Galaxy, I left to Beach, you know, and I've been at Beach for a while.
Where are you right now? And what's your dream right now?
So, you know, now, you know, now talking about my life, you know, I'm married, you know, I'm married to my wife, Josie, great person, you know, the love of my life, I think, she's a great person. You know, we have a kid together now. You know, Santiago, it's he's a blessing. You know, I marry a great person. I marry a great person. You know, the love of my life means a lot to me. She's been my life and soul, great supporter of my dream, like following my soccer career. I feel like I couldn't marry anything better. You know, she supports me, understands me, there for me when I needed her, takes care of the kid. You know, Santi has a great mother. Santi, as we talked about earlier, you know, like Santi was in the hospitalized for 6 months. I think before that, my dream was like you're trying to get into that soccer, like professional soccer environment. I wanted to get back into it. When me and my wife had Santi, and Santi was in the hospital fighting for his life, I think that life changed. My dream changed. Like now I love the game. I love the sport. I still want to make the best out of it, but I see soccer differently now that I have my wife at home. I have my kid at home. I see life differently, because now they mean the world to me. Like like I go to training and I'm excited to come back home. I want to be able to see my kid. I want to be able to play with her. My wife makes a big role in my relationship because she's with the kid. I'm working, I'm training, and she takes care of the kid. She works and takes care of the kid. So she's a big part in our relationship. She's the one that keeps me going and understands me and supports me, because you need someone to support you. You have to find the right partner to support you to keep doing what you're doing. And I always tell this to my wife. It's not easy marrying a soccer coach, because we're always on the field. We're always at training. We're always traveling. We're always doing this. Like, you have to have a good support system at home to be a successful coach. And that's hard. It's hard to find a person like that. And I think I got really, really lucky to find someone like my wife, that could support me and still have a little dream in a soccer environment, But, going back how my dream now it changed a bit, because my son was fighting for his life. I left soccer for 6 months. I was not, I was coaching at Cerritos College. I was working at Beach. I kind of left both of the jobs, to take care of my son, because he was fighting for his life for 6 months, and I just left everything behind, and my life with my son, my life, my wife, and hoping my son would succeed. And thank God my son he fight the right moments, and he's fine. Now he's healthy. The doctors give us there was only a percentage he might survive, but he's a fighter. My son he was born a fighter. He is a great kid, loves the ball. We went through a lot. I see soccer differently now. I love the game. Trust me, my passion, my love for the game is always going to be there. I put the same time and effort to my trainings. I'm always setting up my training sessions a night before for the next session. I always look at the games. I do break down the films and evaluate the players. I still do it, but I don't think I do want to there's been opportunities to coach a higher level, like trying to go back to the MLS. There's been opportunities there, but I denied them. I denied them because I'm happy where I'm at right now. I'm happy with Beach. Beach been up great, supportive to my wife, to me, through the process of my kid, and I respect that, So I'm happy where I'm at right now. Staying with Beach, that's my goal right now. Focus on this kids, focus on the dream of these players right now, and continue building out of that. But I think looking up for a higher level and making more effort to become a professional soccer coach, it's not on my goal anymore, because I've been there, done that. And I think when you've been there and done that, I reached the top as coaches. I worked for professional environments. I worked for 2 MLS teams. I already been there. I've done that, I think now it's my kid, my wife, and just stay with Beach. I think that's what I want to do right now, and that's what my goal is. Trying to get to develop these players to go into college. If one player can make it to a professional, great. But I think my goal is to get into as much boys as I can into a professional a college program. A D1, a D2 program, D3, whatever it is. There's always room for everyone. There's plenty of schools up there for every player in the United States. So it's all there's always as coaches, always time to grow. I go watch sessions once in a while, like you always get to learn from someone, So yeah, that's pretty much, my goal right now, just to, my dream is just to get, like right now my 2010s are in the playoffs, they made playoffs. They were undefeated, the whole season. So great little team. My 2011s were so close to make playoffs. We didn't make playoffs for 1 point, It's a young team, great talented kids. I think they have a lot of talent, a lot of potential. We could be better. But, I've been with the team for 8 months, almost 8 to 9 months. So I think this following season was going to be a lot better for us,
Awesome. It's a great story, and a lot to learn from you and from your whole story, from your whole career, not just as a coach, as a player as well, and as a person that we can learn from. And to wrap up, I have a last question. and dream to compete. What does it mean to compete?
A dream to compete.
What does it mean to compete?
Oh, what does it mean to compete? Look, competition means so many different ways. People could take it in a different way because there's competition to compete, but then you could compete and not learn. So there's players that compete, but they don't learn. Why? Because they want to compete at no cost. They don't care about the cost. They just want to compete, and they forget about the basic of learning. For me, it's more me as a soccer player, as a soccer coach, and all my career have learned. I'd rather you to compete at training than to compete at games. Because if you're a player that just competes a game, eventually you're going to wear out. But if you do competition at training, you're going to have more values. You're going to have more to come to you because you're learning. It's more of the learning. Compete. You got to compete to have a goal. Compete to be success. Compete to be evaluated. Compete to be someone. Compete as a teammate. Don't just compete to be by yourself. Because if you compete just to play, you're never going to get there. You got to compete from training. You got to compete at home. You got to compete at school. You got to compete at every game. I think the competition at games is extra. So compete. You got to compete at your max ability. Never give up. Not looking back. Even if you make mistakes and you compete, it's okay. You're going to make mistakes, but keep competing, and you're going to eventually learn. Compete to learn. I think that what I want to say. You have to compete to learn, because the more you compete and learn, you're going to get better. Instead of just competing to compete and win. Competition and winning is eventually going to wear out for you. You got to compete to learn as much as you can, because that's competition and learning are going to get you farther out.
That's great. I love it. Well, thank you very much for everything, Coach. I really appreciate your time being here. I really appreciate knowing more about you and your whole career. I learned a lot, and I expect that fellow competitor dreamers are gonna learn a lot. God bless you and your family. Thank you.
Now, JP, it's been a blessing. It was, I saw you as a coach. I know what you went through as well, to your injuries and all the stuff what happened to you, and I'm glad you're okay. Like I said, this is why when you came into this country, I was able to help you out, because people help me out, and I do the same thing to others to follow their dreams. And I think that's a success done. If you could help others just the same way I help you and you help other person, that's the way to pay people back. And now you're getting older, you're understanding. Great to have you here. Thanks for the invite. It's always a blessing to see you guys. Your 2003 team, Beach, was always been. You guys were always my babies, and I always tell that to everyone. You guys were my babies. So it was fun to watch you guys play. But hey, thank you for having me here. It's a blessing, to share my story with you as a player, as a young guy when I came to this country, now as a husband, and with my kid, as a father. It's always nice to share the stories, because it's a soccer dream. Everything's a dream. Now I hope one day my son could share a dream, and I could support his dream. That's what I want to left out with. But thank you so much, JP. It was always a pleasure seeing you, even by a phone call or text. It's always nice to hear from you. Wish you the best, and say hi to your family for me.